Hello, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Chudi Ufondu of Snowspirations Global Health Solutions. Welcome to my webinar on YouTube. It's a big privilege to be among you this afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about blood grouping. Blood grouping, very important topic for every member of our community. So please, when you join today's discussion, I want you to introduce yourself. When you join, let's know your name. Let's know where you're located. Then you can also send this particular link to anyone that wants to learn about their blood group. Blood group is very important for so many reasons. So you need to know your unique blood group. You need to know the consequences of making some decisions when you're planning to start your family, especially for the women. So it's important to know what your blood group is. If today is the first day attending my open clinic in YouTube, I welcome you. I appreciate you. Please, before you go today, click on that subscription button so you will be fully in. And when you're done with that, make sure you set your notifications so that anytime I come live, you will participate in real time. My videos and my teachings in YouTube is on Saturdays only. So once you come in about this time on Saturdays, you will have opportunity to learn one of few things. Our community is committed to helping you learn the basic things about your health, about your fertility, about your family, about things you should be conversant with. So today I'm going to teach you the concept of blood group. I'm going to help you to understand your own unique blood group. Then I'm going to talk about the implications of knowing your blood group. And if you have not started your family, the importance of knowing the blood group of your partner and knowing your blood group so that you will not make mistakes. So please quickly announce your name and let's get started. We're probably going to spend about 30 minutes. So once we have a good number, we're going to get the clinic started. So thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Okay, so you can share this video with other people out there. You can share it on your social media. You can share it on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on anywhere you can share the video is okay. And I'm going to start. Now, blood group is mainly divided into 4 particular groups. We have broadly 2 types of blood grouping. We have the ABO blood grouping, then we have the rhesus factor blood grouping. When we talk about the blood group are things you inherit from your 2 parents. So they are determined by your genes. Your genes are what will make you unique. So your blood group is determined by your 2 parents' blood group. So you can only have what your mother and father will give you. It's inherited. That's all you can get. So whatever your 2 parents will give you is what you will have. Now, each blood group, if you pay attention, you will notice a plus or negative sign on each blood group. Now, the reason why we have that plus or negative sign is actually to classify if you have a rhesus factor. Remember, we broadly have 2 types of blood grouping, right? The ABO blood grouping and the rhesus factor blood grouping. Now, in the 4 major blood groups, we will further divide them into subclasses to get 8 major blood groups. In ABO blood grouping, the 4 major blood groups are A, B, AB, and O. So when we further classify them into subgroups, you can have 8 different blood groups. So in general, we have 8 unique different blood groups. So you can have A positive. When you have A positive, it means your blood group is A and you have the rhesus factor. When you have A negative, it means your blood group is A, but you don't have the rhesus factor. The same thing, you will get your B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, O negative. So you need to understand this. Now, when we talk about blood group, there are 2 types of proteins I want you to be conversant with. The first one is called the antibodies. The other one is called antigens. Now, in your blood component, blood is principally made up of three major cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Now, the three major cells are contained in what we call plasma. Now, for every individual, you will have antigens or antibodies. Antibodies are proteins that are found in the plasma. Antigens are proteins that are found around the red blood cells. So in defining your blood group, we are interested in the red blood cells. We are not interested in the white blood cells. We are not interested in the platelets. We are interested in what? The red blood cells. And I want you to pay attention to antigens and antibodies. So antibodies are found in the plasma. Plasma is the liquid portion of the blood which contains the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Whereas your antigens, which is very important. So I want you to pay attention to these proteins. So antibodies are protein found in plasma. They are part of your natural body defense. So antibodies are like soldiers. They go out there to recognize any foreign thing that would damage your body, any germ, any infection, and they destroy them. So the role of antibodies is to protect you. So they are like your soldiers, whereas antigens are protein molecules on the surface of the red blood cells. Now let's go further to talk more about the ABO blood grouping system. I've already mentioned we have 4 major blood groups. Blood group A. In someone that has blood group A, it means that person has A antigens. So the person has A protein on the red blood cells. But when we go to the person's plasma, the person will have anti-B antibodies. Are you following me? It's important you understand this. Someone that has A blood group will have A antigens on the surface of the red blood cells, but in the plasma, the person will have anti-B antibodies. Someone that has a B blood group will have B antigens on the surface of the red blood cells, but have anti-A antibodies in the plasma. Now, when we come to someone that has O group, depending on if it's positive or negative, they do not have any antigen. So in people that have O group, there is no antigen on the red blood cells, but they have both anti-A and anti-B antibodies in the plasma. Now the last one, someone that has AB blood group, it means they have both the A and B antigens on the surface of the red blood cells, but they don't have antibodies. Now, among all the types of blood group, the commonest is blood group O. O is the commonest blood group out there. For example, in UK, around 48% of the population have blood group O. So O is the commonest. Now, why do we bother about this blood group? Now, in my area of specialty, which is maternal health, we are much more worried if the woman is negative and the partner is positive. So, for example, if a woman's blood group is O negative, A negative, B negative, or AB negative, and the partner is positive in any shape or form, we are worried. Why are we worried? When a woman has blood group negative, the body will start building antibodies in the plasma, which will now over time be ready to attack the second pregnancy. Thankfully, the first pregnancy is spared. So women that have blood group A negative, B negative, AB negative, O negative, they will build antibodies. If their partner is positive, when they become pregnant for the first time, they will be sensitized. So if they are carrying a positive baby, their body will start building antibodies, soldiers, to attack the second pregnancies. So most times the first pregnancy is spared, but from the second pregnancy, we begin to have problems. Now, when a couple are incompatible, it means the woman is negative and the partner is positive. Can they still marry? Yes. Can they still have kids? Yes. What are they supposed to do? The woman is supposed to share this history with the doctor. We are supposed to confirm that she's negative. Then in all her subsequent pregnancies, we'll give her Rogan. It's an injection that can prevent all the complications that can happen in incompatibilities. If you don't take this Rogan injection, possibility your pregnancy is gonna not function properly. You will have babies that will have a lot of adverse effects, including having a couple of miscarriages and babies that will be deformed. So it's important you know your blood group when you're going into your relationship. Let me tell you the ones you should be worried about. If you are negative as a woman, so that means your blood group is A negative, B negative, AB negative, O negative, and your partner is confirmed to be positive. That means your partner is O positive, AB positive, B positive, A positive. Then you need to be mindful. Your first pregnancy, no problems. Subsequent pregnancies, you are supposed to receive 2 injections of Rogan sometime within your pregnancy and within 72 hours of delivering your baby. It's a must. When we do this, we protect subsequent pregnancies. So another area when we need to be mindful of our blood grouping is in blood transfusion. If there is an emergency and someone needed to be giving blood, we don't just bring any blood and give the person. We must make sure that the blood is compatible. So when you're receiving blood from the wrong ABO blood grouping, there can be a life-threatening outcome. For example, if someone with blood group B is giving blood group A blood, there will be an anti-A antibodies. Remember, and it will not all go well. There will be a lot of complications, including that. So this is why we need to screen the blood. We need to know your genotype. We need to know your blood group. We need to actually know this. It should be in your data so that if you happen to be in road traffic accident or you're going into surgery and we need to give you blood, we need to we need to type and cross match your blood effectively so we are not going to make mistakes. Now, everything I've been telling you guys are based on the ABO blood grouping. We also have another type of blood grouping we call rhesus factor blood grouping. Rhesus factor is also a protein. A protein we also call antigens, also found on the surface of the red blood cell. This one classification is very simple. When you have it, you are positive. When you don't have it, you are negative. So I'm going to give you the 8 different types of classification of blood group using rhesus factor. Type 1, A, rhesus factor positive. It means your blood group is A and you have the antigen of rhesus, which is A positive. When you don't have it, you are negative. When you come to the B person, if the B person has the antigen in the surface of the red blood cells, that person is classified as B positive. If you don't have it, you're classified as B negative. The same thing is applicable to O. The same thing is applicable to AB. So in rhesus factor, the determining factor is the plus or negative sign. You have to know this. Now, also about 85% of UK population are rhesus factor positive. And out of this, 35% are O positive. So the commonest blood group out there is O positive. Commonest. So more people have rhesus factor compared to people that don't have it. When you have it, you have positive. When you don't have it, you have negative. So in most cases, O negative blood can be given to anybody. The reason why we can give O negative blood to anybody is because there is no antibodies there. So it's often used in medical emergency. For example, if someone is involved in motor traffic accident or the person is about dying and we don't really know the person's blood group, the safest blood to give someone about dying, someone that needs blood transfusion, it's O negative. This is because in O negative, they do not have A, B antigens on the surface of the red blood cells. which is protective. So it's compatible in every other situation. So if for some reasons, the person that got involved in road traffic accident, the person that is about dying, if we don't have the person's blood grouping, the safest blood group to transfuse is O negative. So that's my presentation. I'm going to allow you now to start asking questions. So please, if you have any questions, feel free and ask. All questions are welcome. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes for that purpose. So please start asking your questions. Admin, you can also generate questions and ask me at least 4 separate questions. So please start asking your questions. Remember to join us on Saturday, the 27th of January for our masterclass. Our masterclass for January is going to be amazing. It's going to be very, very important for all intending mothers and fathers. So if you are not yet pregnant and you are planning to become pregnant and become a mother in 2024, please go and register for that event. Registration is currently ongoing. So if I were you, I will register and I will acquaint myself with knowledge that will help me to start my family. We are going to take your hands. We are going to take you through steps you have to embark on so you can become pregnant, and not just becoming pregnant, and also having your babies. There is nobody in our community born barren. We do not have barren women. We do not have impotent women. We are fruitful. We are all going to have our babies. All the women that have been thinking is all over will become pregnant and become mothers in 2024. Please start asking your questions. Do we have any questions? Moderator, do you have any questions? Doc, do you have any questions? This is one of the most important topics for everybody in this community. I'm surprised only few people attended. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the transcript. So I'm also going to encourage you to share this video with everyone out there. But I'm still going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. You still have about 3 minutes. So please quickly ask your questions. Let me check. Sometimes we'll have some questions that might not be visible. So let me check the forum. Give me 1 minute. Please ask your questions if you have any. Okay. If a woman who just put to bed did not receive the Rogan injection in 72 hours, what will happen? Will she not be able to conceive again? So the problem is not whether you're going to conceive or not. The problem is what's going to be the state of that pregnancy. Remember the reason why you're having that Rogan. We want to prevent the soldiers from attacking the baby. So some babies might not make it. Some babies might die. Some babies will have a lot of complications. And of course, subsequent pregnancies, if you don't take it, you will still have the problem. So the case is not whether it's going to affect your blood group is not going to affect your fertility. You will likely going to get pregnant. But the question is, what's going to be the outcome of the pregnancy? So you don't want to get pregnant. And the reason why you're going to have miscarriage or stillbirth is because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So when you're taking that Rogan in that index pregnancy and 72 hours after delivery, you are protecting you and your baby. You are guaranteeing that your baby is not going to have any complications. So it's something you must do. It's not optional. It's mandated. All women that are negative, A negative, B negative, AB negative, O negative, you must take your Rogan injection throughout all subsequent pregnancies. Now be very careful. Some women might have had abortions in the past. Some women might have become pregnant without knowing. Anytime your womb has conceived, whether the pregnancy continued okay or you miscarried the pregnancy, we've already counted that for you as first. So subsequent pregnancies, you must be very mindful. So if you have had miscarriage in the past, missed abortion, blighted ovum, or you aborted your baby and you eventually become pregnant, that first pregnancy is not your first pregnancy. You've been pregnant before. In that particular index pregnancy, we must give you organ. So you have to know if you are negative or not. Once you are negative, as a woman, we are worried. If your partner is negative, we are not worried. So the focus is on the woman being negative. If you're negative and your partner is negative, we are okay. We are not okay when you are negative and your partner is positive. That's where the problem starts. Okay? What do these babies look like long term? Now, in medical practice, there are certain terminologies we don't use. I'm happy that, Doc introduced that concept. We don't call anybody imbeciles. That's very demeaning. There are certain words we use and we just lose our humanity. We don't use that words. We don't use imbecility. Nobody's an imbecile. It's just an erroneous stress of word. Now, when you don't do what you're supposed to do, there are so many complications that can happen in a baby. Because anything that has to do with your blood, the life in you is all about your blood. So once your blood is, complicated, you're going to have problems. So some babies are not going to handle distributing oxygen well. They will have a lot of complications, which I'm not going to go into the medical issues now. So just know when you don't do what you're supposed to do, you are adversely affecting your baby. And it doesn't make sense. A good mother should protect her baby. A good father should make best decisions for the baby, not for you. Okay? All right. Yeah, we don't use that terminology. I'm happy, Doc brought that particular terminology up. There are words we don't use. You see barren, you see impotent, we see imbecile. That's completely inhumane. It should never be used by anybody. Just like O negative blood group can donate to anyone. What blood group can donate to O negative? O negative. So the best blood group you can receive blood group, it's from the person sharing the same blood group with you. So for example, if you are O positive, the best blood group for you is O positive. If you are B negative, the best blood group for you is B negative. So the best person to give you blood is someone in your own blood group. As simple as that. Now, the best blood to give anybody out there is O negative because they do not have any antigens. So the possibility of causing problem is limited. If we don't know, we go for A negative. But if we know, we give that person the exact blood group where that person belongs to. Very important. Please keep asking your questions. Very important. I'm going to give extra 3 minutes. So Chinyere, keep asking questions. Can please ask further questions so we can use it to teach other people. Share this video. This is very important for anybody. If in your family you don't know your blood group, it's possible your parents are not well educated, so they might not know their blood group. What can you do for them? Take them to a good lab. Let's know their blood group. Now, this might cause a lot of confusion in some families. Matter of fact, there are some families that will go into disintegration. Let me tell you how. Assuming your parents are in their 60s or 70s, and you've always known them to be your parents, and they didn't tell you they adopted you, and your mother claimed to be your mother, your father claimed to be your father. If there was any games that got played before you were born, when you go for your blood testing, you're going to find out. Hello? When you are going for any blood test, if your mother lied or your father lied, we are going to find out. Besides paternity test and all that, you can only have the blood group and genotype that your parents will give you. You cannot have external blood group. You cannot have external genotype. So if we check your two parents' genotype or blood group, and we notice some discrepancies, possibility your mother needs to have a lot of explanation is there. Or possibility they treat the babies from birth is there. So it's a way of consolidating your family integrity. So you need to be careful. Whatever your mom will have is what your mom will contribute to give you. Whatever your dad will have is what your dad will contribute to give you. Let me give you an example. Let me go a little bit into genotype. If your father is AA and your mother is AA, You do not have any business having any S in your family. If anybody has any S or C, there's a problem we need to solve. We need to go for paternity test. If you guys are, of course, we don't really want to wish for this. If both of you are SS and suddenly we have an A in the family, where is that A coming from? You can only give what you have. It's the simplest way of knowing the purity of your family. So you need to be careful. If you're forming your relationships, there are a couple of tests you have to request. Blood group and genotype, especially your genotype. Thankfully, in blood grouping, we can navigate with Rogan, but in genotype, there is no remedy. So ask those very difficult questions. This is not about I love him, he loved me, and all that. We are not talking about love here. We're talking about continuity of your family, okay? All right. For people with cancer, does blood group play a role? And are there foods unique to blood groups? So I want to understand what you mean with cancer. Everybody has unique, blood groups. So if someone that has cancer needs to be transfused with blood, definitely we have to make sure that the blood we are giving the person is compatible. Anything that will require any component of blood. So there are some people who might need to give plasma. There are some people who might need to give platelets. There are some people who might need to give concentrated white blood cells. So we have to know the group. Very important. When we don't do that, the blood reaction we can get can kill. If we give the wrong blood to somebody, that person can have very bad anaphylactic shock and that person can die. We don't want to do that. We are in business of saving lives, okay? What's the difference between genotype and blood group and DNA? I love that. So your genotype is the genetic makeup of you, right? Now your DNA, it's the basic unit that determines who you are. So inside that your genotype are unique DNA that your two parents gave you. So DNA is more like the final bus stop. But your gene, it's different components of DNA that will come together and make a particular gene, which you're not going to transfer to your family. Then your blood group, it's also a component of the gene. So there are the three things you mentioned are three different terminologies, but at the end of the day, they are all intertwined. And unfortunately, sometimes it's used interchangeably. But just know that your blood group, if you're A, B, O, positive or negative, it's coming from your parents. It's coming from the genetic components, which is also made up of the DNA component, which your two parents will give you. So figure out your blood group as the final product. So if you're A positive, the implications of you being A positive is at some point, one of your parents gave you the positive dominant, blood group. So that means if you're A positive, you are A rhesus factor positive. So you have the A antigen in the red blood cells, and you also have the rhesus factor in the red blood cells. I hope it's clear. So don't go using genes, DNA, blood group interchangeably. They are three different medical terminologies. Can you flush? Once your blood group is determined, is with you for life. It doesn't change. Absolutely, you cannot. Okay? We are only worried when women are negative. If you're positive, go to sleep. You don't have problems. If your partner is negative or positive, we don't care. We are only worried when the woman is negative. So when you're O negative, when you're B negative, when you're A negative, when you're AB negative, that's when we give you Rogan. Okay? All right. All right. Do we have any other question? We still have about 1 minute to 30 minutes. We actually give extra 10 minutes. So make sure you register for the masterclass. If I were you starting this January, I'll start in January on a very high note. You give yourself a very good gift. So if you're having delays in becoming pregnant, get a consulting package, especially if you live in Nigeria. Now, we are also preparing a very important comprehensive course focusing on female fertility. So if you're not in Nigeria, or maybe you don't have the facilities to get a package, you can get this course. It's a 15-model course. When you go through the courses, you will know better, you will do better, and you will become better. When you know better, and you do better, obviously you're going to get better. When you don't do better, because you don't know better, you're going to get what you give. So for you to equip yourself with the right knowledge in 2024, it's important you start your January on a high note. This is why our first masterclass is going to be amazing. Dr. Fache is going to come from Abuja. He's a subject matter specialist in difficult fertility challenges. He succeeded in helping women have quadruplets. So many families out there that never knew they would have babies succeeded in having quadruplets. He's going to be our guest. He's a very solid, fully loaded fertility expert. You don't want to miss this event. So if you haven't registered, I will encourage you to register. I want you to start winning from January. I want you to start your January as a winner. I want you to start your pregnancy in January so that sometime in September, you'll have your baby. This is 2024 of babies. This is 2024 of mothers. This is 2024 of fathers. Nobody can stop the joy God has started infusing in your family. You're going to be a mother. You're going to be a father. Nobody can change that. But I want you to do your own part. You must do your own part. You must show up. You must come to the table of equity with justice. You must pray. You must play. You must practice. We must identify what the problem is. Then we have to proffer the best solutions. If you're having delays, the best person to help you is not a Dibia. It's not your sister. It's not your mother. It's not your grandmother, a fertility specialist. If you can do all this, then we're going to celebrate you on this platform any moment from now. I thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next Saturday. But until I see you, God bless you, and bye-bye for now.